Okay, welcome to another edition of Real Estate Investor Talk, and I'm sitting here with Justin Clarke. Justin is the founder and he's the CEO of One Africa Media, and One Africa Media started off as private property. Tell us about private property, because I think private property being one of the biggest South African property portals. Tell us where it all started and how things sort of evolved with private property and where you are today.
The sale process is less daunting to some people. We realized that we could never ever get past, let's say, 10% of the real estate market with a for sale by owner pure play, and we started to look at opening up to the real estate industry. So to many people, obviously, that was a major change and a little bit too much for them to bear, going from the champion of the private seller to, hey, you know what, we're just a portal for the industry. But the fact is, guys, that really what is an internet marketplace? And an internet marketplace is a place that you can go to as a buyer, see all the houses that are available in your particular search criteria, area, price, etc., 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 and be able to make an informed decision. And if you only can see private sellers, that's not going to solve your problem as a browser. And then ultimately, you're going to go somewhere else. So it's very much a case of having to find our space, and were we an internet service provider, were we a marketplace, or were we just a for sale organization like an estate agent selling private properties? Initially, you start off by the advertising. You sell an advertising slot. Then somebody will contact you and say, great, well, I found a buyer, somebody phoned me, what the hell do I do now? So you start to provide a little bit of facilitation service. And ultimately, that became our major revenue stream. We started to literally have private property people in cars running around, servicing people that had sold their homes privately for free, apart from the fact that we would make a cut out of organizing the home loan and aggregating that through one of the bond originators. And in fact, that was our business. So going back to 2007, we were profitable, we were generating great revenues, and we were doing 100 odd million in home loan grants a month. So, sort of some nice volume for a really early stage business.
Right. So just take us through the structure of One Africa Media, because I understand there's 18 subsidiaries. And so you started from private property, which is obviously a very successful business in its own right, but now a number of subsidiaries.
Yeah, so the One Africa Media is the holding company, and all of these other businesses hang off it at various points. We've got an entity in Mauritius. Obviously, South African exchange control and things like that is quite limiting, so we had to move to Mauritius. So, and then most of the Pan-African businesses hang off the Mauritian company.
Okay.
Businesses are very simple. Marketplaces are really like a big flywheel. You have nice products, eyeballs come, eyeballs see the products, leads come through to the sellers of the product, and then the flywheel goes around, and more eyeballs come, that means more products come. Eventually, when the thing's spinning fast enough, you can start to charge, and you can start to tax the transaction.
What were the key differences in moving to Africa? Particularly, let's focus on property and the property portals in Nigeria, in Kenya, right across the board.
Yeah, I think there's a bigger question there, and it's really about real estate in Africa.
Yeah.
And there are massive opportunities across this continent in real estate. Like a lot of the frontier and early markets, there are a few people who own all the real estate. The deeds officers are very disorganized, if they exist at all, and so title doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. Possession is ownership in many respects, so banks don't lend very freely on real estate. That means you have to have cash.
Yes.
And if you're in a place like Luanda or Lagos, you pretty much need to have $1 million to buy a house. You need to have quite a lot of cash floating around. So that means that's the domain of the wealthy.
Yes.
So the funnel size is quite small.
Right.
So that being said, if you look at real estate agents in South Africa, let's say there's 4,000 real estate agents offices in South Africa supporting maybe 60,000 real estate agents.
Right.
Very organized, very structured, quite well-run businesses actually. And in Lagos, for example, there'll be 10,000 offices, but they all pretty much work out the back of the car. Very, very small amount of structure, very few brands, just you know, the agent is really a property inspector slash solicitor.
Right.
So it's very fragmented, and
Yeah.
that makes it quite a difficult environment to play in.
Sure. No, absolutely.
You know, I think the portals, we have a strange situation in real estate where there's no one really representing the buyer side. The agent kind of represents the seller.
Yeah.
And I think the portal kind of fulfills that role. I think if you really want to imagine what the industry is going to become, the thing with technology is that it follows exactly what the market really wants. So you think of yourself as a buyer and think about when you're looking for a property, what are the things that influence you? Well, man, you want to see the property, it must be priced right. You must be able to see the bloody thing from your mobile phone, by the way. Sorry, another thing. And it's got to all just happen for you. It's got to be seamless. You've got to be able to literally push one button and the properties that are suitable for you get matched to you and come up on your phone in a seamless way. You've got to be able to have some sort of virtual walkthrough of that home without having to get in your car, stand in the traffic, drive, go and meet another person there, find someone with the keys and go in. You want it all to happen to you in an automatic fashion.
Right.
And that means a lot of technology, a lot of investment, and you know, the people who are going to do that are going to be the portals. So that's the future of what we've got to look forward to. Imagine yourself as a buyer. Think about what's useful to you when it comes to searching for a property, and what are the things that are going to help you to make a decision. And that's what you're going to see in the very near future.
Right. Okay, just on a personal note, Justin, I know also, I think it was 2010, 2011, when you had a personal setback, when you had the skiing accident. Tell us a little bit, because, you know, I remember you from prior to that time, and you know, nothing has changed about you.
In Austria, skied off a mountain, basically, and well, was virtually dead for a couple of months. Thanks to the support of my wife Sue, she probably kept me alive by looking after the doctors and making sure that they. But anyway, after a couple of months, I was out of ICU in Austria, flown back to hospital in South Africa, spent about another 6 months in hospital in South Africa. Really, I was pretty broken. Yeah, the interesting thing is that you know, people that are faced with with great tragedies, you can deal with it two ways. And I think if you don't have anything to go to, it can be harder. Yes. Because you have to sit at home and think about your future. I didn't have that luxury. You know, it was like, I remember like opening one eye in the hospital bed and having our CFO there with like documents to sign. So what am I signing here? Anyway, so sometimes it's nice to have something that you have to do, because it gets you back on track really quickly. And you don't actually think about the disability. You think about what needs to be done today, and slowly the disability goes away.